Lord of Mysteries 2, Circle of Inevitability. Chapter 329, Metallic Creature. Simultaneously with Franca's explanation, inky flames emanated from her right hand, melding with the mirror that belonged to Lumien's substitute. Jenna observed with a mixture of apprehension, her breath held involuntarily. Within the bottle of fiction. Just as the wall of flames surged forth, kindling the abyss demon flowers, a pang of agony gnawed at Lumien's heart, birthing a faint shroud of black flames upon his chest. In response, his spirit body descended gradually, drawn into an abyssal darkness, a void obliterating light. Curse? Lumien, ensconced within the cradle of crimson flames, was caught off guard. The reasons behind this unexpected curse eluded him. On the one hand, he had preemptively plugged his ears, blunting the impact of the soul assimilation mystic spell. On the other, Guillaume Benet lay concealed among the dormant abyss demon flowers, offering no overt indications of invoking contract abilities. Furthermore, he remained unscathed, leaving behind neither flesh nor blood. Every strand of his discarded hair had been consumed by the encroaching flames. As the black flames emerged, the curse lingered at a subdued level, manifesting as a faint affliction that refrained from impeding his movements. Instantaneously, Lumien formulated a hypothesis. This curse came from Franca. Employing mirror substitution, she sought to reach out to him. With renewed determination, Lumien thrust his hands in the direction of the Padre's covert location. Resounding with crackling, another barrier of crimson flames materialized, fire enveloping the descending abyss demon flowers. Leveraging this veil to obscure Guillaume Benet's line of sight, Lumien pivoted and sprinted toward the entryway of the bottle of fiction. His actions and his overt choice resonated with unmistakable clarity, conveying to Guillaume Benet, "Why should I fight you within your chosen battleground? If my comrades are barred from entry, I'll venture outside and unite with them." Emerging from his concealment behind a cluster of abyss demon flowers, Guillaume Benet radiated a metallic gleam across his exposed skin. Blazing tongues of fire surged toward him, yet they could only strip away a fraction of fabric, unable to sear his flesh. Through the fiery veil, the Corte Padre bestowed a smile upon Lumien's indistinct figure. Given the capability to freely traverse the bottle of fiction with requisite conditions fulfilled, he had ingeniously laid a trap at the entryway, awaiting Lumien's unwitting ensnarement. Having assumed a metallic form, his utility was confined to boons involving his body, fate, and 3 distinct contract abilities untouched by his transformation. Among the latter was Shadow Burial. A black mark on Guillaume Benet's torso wavered, summoning pallid white and abyssal black arms that extended from the encroaching shadows, ensnaring Lumien, mid-sprint toward the entryway. Lumien, with a forceful stomp, catapulted into the air, seemingly aiming to vault over the eerie appendages emerging from the shadows, seeking sanctuary at the hushed, inky exit. Behind him, a crimson fireball materialized, poised to detonate at a moment's notice, transmuting into a vessel of obliteration. Simultaneously, fierce fireballs ignited to his left and right, as if poised to counteract the grasp of the arms. Guillaume Benet's metallic visage bore a smile more discernible than before, though it remained deprived of vitality, stern and emotionless. He anticipated Lumien's imminent leap into the bottle of fiction's exit. The strange arms accompanying the shadow burial served as a diversionary tactic, forestalling any suspicions from arising. "It's a pity that I can't use Bone Curse in my metallic state. Otherwise, this would be a good opportunity." Guillaume Benet hesitated to dispel his steel body and deal Lumien another blow. That way, he wouldn't be able to transform into a metallic creature again anytime soon. The abandoned mine now permeated with anesthetic gas would shortly transform into an inferno. For weak humans lacking godhood, this hostile terrain was untenable. Even alms monks could sustain themselves only a brief interval longer. In the throes of hesitation, Guillaume Benet ultimately opted to persist with shadow burial, permitting the nightmarish arms to continue their relentless encroachment upon Lumien. With a vigorous leap, Lumien neared the exit of the bottle of fiction, almost within grasp. At that moment, the pitch-black exit, a shadowed orifice devoid of flame, suddenly writhed faintly, akin to a shadowy maw yearning for sustenance. Undetected, a suffused aura of shadow had enshrouded the secret door's surface, a profundity seemingly imbued with life. This was a trap Guillaume Benet had meticulously laid. The mechanism lay dormant during Lumien's initial entrance, solely activating when Lumien attempted exit. This safeguard was devised to preempt Lumien from having any danger premonitions when initially entering the bottle of fiction, deterring him from braving its confines. Lumien perceived the sensation of plummeting into an abyss, the final lifeline eluding his grip. The deceptively thin veil of darkness coiled, an amalgam of endless shadows that converged into an abyssal maw, an aperture on the verge of engulfing him. Mid-flight, Lumien extended his right palm, yet just before it made contact with the shadowy maw shrouding the hidden door, he abruptly withdrew it, mimicking a gesture of prying open a door. In tandem, the decency brooch nestled upon his right chest emitted a subdued golden glow. Distortion. Lumien distorted the action of opening the door with the concept of unsealing this confined space. From the outset, his intent to depart the bottle of fiction was absent. Instead, he sought to find a way for his companions to infiltrate, thus furnishing reinforcement. This enclave laden with combustible resources stood as a haven for a pyromaniac. Boom! With a resounding detonation, the crimson fireball positioned to Lumien's left erupted, issuing a horizontal thrust that exacted a substantial toll. His attire lay rent, and his flesh bore charred imprints, inflicted by the fiery onslaught. Gradually nearing the shadowy vortex, the forceful explosion propelled him away from the exit of the bottle of fiction and beyond the enshrouded region brimming with appendages swathed in pallid white and abyssal black. Resounding with a thud, Lumien tumbled, ensconcing himself behind a rampart of surging flames. This maneuver forestalled the further encroachment of the shadowy expanse, obliging the strange arms to contend with the blistering blaze. Outside the bottle of fiction, a frigid zephyr brushed against Franca and Jenna, wafting from the hidden door's interior. Swiftly, the chill metamorphosed into a searing fervor. Behind the hidden door lay a derelict mine engulfed in a sea of crimson flames, the blazing inferno punctuated by the descent of undistorted fire dragons, their incandescence unbridled. The remaining black vines, the crimson flowers, and the strange arms all succumbed to the fiery onslaught, pursued relentlessly by the raging conflagration. Signaling to Jenna, Franca receded into the shadows as she drew closer to the hidden door. Jenna understood Franca's intentions and rationally retreated into the shadows outside the hidden door, concealing herself. She knew that it would be difficult for her to participate in the battle with her strength. Thus, she chose to bide her time, awaiting the enemy's emergence through the threshold, poised to exploit a fleeting opportunity to deliver a decisive, lethal strike. Within the ajar bottle of fiction, Lumien, having concluded his somersault, propped himself up with a single hand. Locking his gaze onto the distant Guillaume Benet, his form akin to that of a metallic marionette, Lumien's lips curled wordlessly, yielding an eruption of crimson flames that engulfed his flesh and attire. A familiar pang of torment reverberated across Lumien's psyche, jolting him awake from the lethargic stupor. "It's been some time." Lumien's grin was tinged with distortion as he hurtled toward the metal-encased Guillaume Benet. His forward momentum stirred the encompassing crimson flames, elongating behind him like a shimmering, unfurled cape. Wary of Lumien's earlier utilization of the Harumph spell, Guillaume Benet, resembling a puppet forged from steel, evaded direct confrontation, executing artful shifts in position. Discerning Lumien's strategy of harnessing the flames to stave off the abyss demon flowers-induced anesthetic gas, Guillaume Benet discerned this endeavor to be fleeting. At best, Lumien's fiery gambit would delay his descent into unconsciousness. Certain matters couldn't be resolved by self-harm. Having adopted the form of a metallic entity via steel body, Guillaume Benet remained impervious to the anesthetic gas's effects, even foregoing the need to draw breath. This form also minimized the conflagration's impact on him. Guillaume Benet was convinced that steel body's efficacy would persist until Lumien succumbed to unconsciousness. Furthermore, his assessment revealed Lumien's substantial spirituality expenditure, coupled with Lumien's evident abstention from spirit world traversal. This deduction led Guillaume Benet to surmise that the Harumph spell likely bore limitations on its frequency of use. Of course, sustained evasion was untenable. Lumian Li's actions hinted at him using some unconventional means to open the bottle of fiction, suggesting his companions had likely infiltrated covertly through invisibility. Guillaume Benet couldn't allow this duo to demonstrate the potency of their teamwork. Nimbly maneuvering around the plummeting tendrils of flaming vines, Guillaume Benet executed a sudden pivot, facing Lumian with unwavering intent. His metallic countenance mirrored the flaming luminance, refracting a kaleidoscopic iridescence. Myriads of diminutive rainbows coalesced, cleaving Guillaume Benet as though he gazed upon his mirror image. Light incarnation. One of the 3 contractual abilities accessible in his steel body state. Its premise lay in leveraging light to forge a fleeting incarnation, capable of channeling an individual's capabilities. 2 metallic Guillaume Benets surged toward Lumian simultaneously. Thud! 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 Each stride they undertook fostered corporeal expansion, culminating in the metamorphosis into metallic titans, which tore asunder their white robes adorned with silver-black threads. Elevating his right hand, Lumian summoned into being a host of crimson fire ravens that swirled about him. The fire ravens promptly surged toward the 2 Guillaume Benets, demonstrating no clemency. Given the inherent challenge of distinguishing authenticity from imitation within a short span of time, Lumian adopted a stratagem of unleashing an onslaught indiscriminately, comprising both genuine and illusory manifestations. For truth could not be falsified, nor could falsity be genuine. In an abrupt detonation, the Guillaume Benet before him disintegrated. Rumble! Accompanied by the explosion, amid which a multitude of fire ravens were prematurely engulfed in combustion, a water cannon sculpted from dark green liquid surged forth from the fake Guillaume Benet's fragmented remnants. The water cannon, of astonishing alacrity and proximity, penetrated Lumian's fiery shroud, impinging upon his form. As a consequence, Lumian's physique began exhibiting telltale signs of liquefaction. Drainer gland poison. One of 3 contractual abilities he could use as a metallic entity. With a brittle crack, Lumian's corporeal structure fractured, metamorphosing into mirrors. A mere 10 meters from Guillaume Benet, Franca, owing to the activation of mirror substitution, involuntarily escaped her state of invisibility. Observing her emergence, Guillaume Benet's blue irises assumed a pallor bordering on translucence. A deft push of his right palm propagated the emergence of an expansive river of mercurial sigils encircling Franca. Pitting himself directly against Lumian Li proved to be a disconcerting engagement for Guillaume Benet. His paramount and most formidable fate appropriator ability remained inaccessible, for its utilization would catalyze a consequential backlash from inevitability. Since it couldn't be used on Lumian Li, it could be used on his companion.